Very good evening to Sir, Professor Amol Gupta, chairpersons, and special thanks to AIOS and Dr. Somashila for having me here to speak on newer therapeutics in uveitis. So, from the previous talks that we saw, there were limitations of current therapy, which include a narrow therapeutic window, all of them having their own individual potential side effects, and therefore we need newer drugs to target specific pathways in the inflammatory response. All these drugs are currently in various phases of investigations, and they are targeted mainly for non-infectious uveitis to have a targeted safer therapy, to have reduced side effects, and to have a greater efficacy. Since I have no personal experience with this, I would recommend that I would disclose that I've taken this matter from the literature. And the emerging and the adopted therapies include five major categories of the drugs which target inflammatory cytokines. And we have a number of agents among this category. TNF alpha inhibitors, where we have one agent. Innate anti inflammatory pathways enhancers, we have three agents. Agents targeting T and B cells, and steroidogenic pathway activator. Now, coming to the first category of the newer drugs targeting inflammatory cytokines, tocilizumab and sarilumab. These are humanized monoclonal antibodies against IL-6 receptors and implicated in immune-mediated diseases including uveitis. So the idea is to block the IL-6 receptor to block the inflammatory effects of IL-6. Tocilizumab was FDA approved for rheumatoid arthritis, and it has also been reported to be used in refractory JI-associated uveitis, where 50% of the eyes showed improvement in visual acuity, and that was sustained through to about 8 months. Recently, the STOP uveitis study compared its safety and efficacy in two different doses, 4 and 8 milligram per kg monthly. And at 6 months, there was significant improvement in visual acuity found, and also about little less than half of the patients had a two-step improvement in the vitreous haze score. Coming to sarilumab, the efficacy has been tested for treatment of posterior segment non-infectious uveitis in phase 2 Saturn study trial, where the patients were randomized in 2:1 ratio to receive subcutaneous the drug or the placebo. The two-step improvement in vitreous haze as well as visual acuity improvement both were significantly high in the sarilumab group as compared to the placebo group. Secukinumab, the names are a bit tongue twisters. It's directed against IL-17A, which is a pro-inflammatory cytokine. This is implicated in the pathogenesis of several autoimmune diseases and, of course, non-infectious uveitis. There are three multiple phase 3 studies of subcutaneous drug which were reported by Dick et al. First phase study, SHIELD study, which directed patients with Behçet's uveitis. The second, ENSURE study, had patients with active non-Behçet's uveitis. And the third study had patients with controlled non-Behçet's uveitis. In terms of recurrence rate of uveitis, they did not find any difference as compared to the placebo group, but the visual acuity was significantly improved, and the dependence on the other immunosuppressive therapy drugs and corticosteroids was much less in the drug group as compared to the placebo. Adverse effects are there. After the subcutaneous use, the IV administration of the drug was evaluated in uveitis, and this was found to be efficacious as compared to the subcutaneous drug. Adverse events, there was an overall increase in the risk of infections associated with some additional effects of headache and fatigue. Canakinumab, again, it's a humanized monoclonal antibody inhibiting IL-beta 1. It can be given subcutaneous or IV. It has been found efficacious in clinical trials of Behçet's disease patients, also effective in Bloss syndrome-associated uveitis refractory to conventional agents. It has mild ADRs and has a relatively good safety profile. Anakinra binds to IL-beta 1 receptor, inhibiting the IL-1 mediated inflammation. It has an excellent safety profile and a short half-life. Hence, it's a good option for very rapid control of inflammation in young patients, in patients with latent infections, and in those with an underlying CKD. This is the only FDA-approved treatment for neonatal onset multisystem inflammatory disease, which is a severe hereditary inflammatory disorder affecting the brain, joints, eyes, ears at birth. The efficacy of anakinra has been shown in animal models of uveitis, and it has also been shown in patients with Behçet's uveitis. Gevokizumab, it selectively inhibits IL-beta 1 again. The earlier studies demonstrated its efficacy in Behçet's uveitis. Followed by this, there were three phase 3 clinical trials in California, directing patients of active non-infectious uveitis, Behçet's disease, and controlled non-infectious uveitis. However, the results of IGUARD-B study having Behçet's disease patients. The results were declared in 2015, where they found that it failed to meet its primary endpoint of control of ocular inflammation. Daclizumab, it's a human, again, monoclonal antibody against the alpha subunit CD25 of the IL-2 receptor. But this drug had a voluntary withdrawal of the drug worldwide in 2008 following severe liver dysfunction and serious inflammatory brain disorders as the side effects. Ustekinumab, this is against the P40 subunit of both IL-12 and IL-23. Various case reports have demonstrated its successful use in the treatment of refractory Behçet's uveitis, and a phase 2 clinical trial evaluating its use in Behçet's disease is currently ongoing. Coming to the second category of TNF alpha inhibitors, we have one agent under this, ESBA 105. Unlike the full monoclonal antibodies, it is composed of a single chain antibody fragment, represents the smallest functional unit of the antibodies. Its small size hence has a potential for better penetration through the corneal surface for topical administration. It acts via the same pathways as other full TNF antibodies like infliximab and adalimumab, and hence has a similar efficacy. Coming to its ocular pharmacokinetics, its concentration in aqueous fluid has been found to be 359 folds compared to the vitreous fluid concentration. The topical use in acute anterior uveitis was studied in a phase 2 study. However, the results have not been published of that study. The third category is innate anti-inflammatory pathways enhancer. We have recombinant interferon alpha, beta, and gamma in this. The strong effect of interferon alpha has been reported in the treatment of refractory Behçet's uveitis. It promotes restoration of immune homeostasis by decreasing the dysfunctional Treg production, increasing the IL-10, and suppressing the aggravated Th17 immune responses. This is the only known drug to allow Behçet's disease patients to remain in remission even after cessation of the therapy. Also effective in VKH disease, serpiginous choroiditis, and intermediate uveitis. Coming to the interferon beta, it has not been studied as extensively as the interferon. Superior outcome when compared to methotrexate for treatment of uveitic macular edema, both in terms of visual acuity and central macular thickness, and lesser episodes of ocular inflammation, both in terms of frequency and intensity, were found in a patient with multiple sclerosis when treated with this drug. Interferon gamma, it has a protective and regulatory effect in animal models, but no human clinical trials are there. Autologous Treg therapy, the Treg we know inhibits immune responses inflammation by various mechanisms. Promising results are there in a mouse model of autoimmune uveitis, suggest its therapeutic potential for non-infectious uveitis. However, there was a clinical trial where the recruitment was suspended. The second agent is a small peptide similar to the retinal S antigen. This is an oral drug which was found to be well tolerated in patients with chronic uveitis. I think I'll need a minute more. Can I?
Yes, I think 1 minute. Would be happy if you sum it up in 30
Yeah,
seconds.
it's almost over. Another clinical study from Germany reported its efficacy of this oral drug in 9 patients with chronic uveitis with corticosteroid sparing effects. The fourth category is targeting T and B cells. So, sirolimus, we have various clinical trials, SAVE 2, Sakura, and now the Lumina, which is the ongoing trial, and its effective use has been demonstrated in non-necrotizing anterior scleritis also. Rituximab, we know its use in targeting the CD20 antigen. Adequate control of refractory uveitis in JIA and uveitis or sclerotic refractory to other agents. Its use in the setting of uveitis has not been sufficiently studied to report on its side effect profile. Then we have various drugs like abatacept, which are still in the infancy stage, filgotinib, tofacitinib, epidemiolast, sotrastorin, and alemtuzumab. These are all the fourth category drugs. And lastly, we have this steroidogenic pathway activator, which is an ACTH gel. And there is a case report of its successful use in retinal vasculitis. And there is a clinical trial going on in non-infectious uveitis. To summarize that, we have now various drugs who are in various stages of the clinical trials. And these also have helped us to identify various new inflammatory pathway in the pathogenesis of non-infectious uveitis. And the future of uveitis therapy appears to be promising because we have lots of agents on the horizon which may revolutionize the treatment of non-infectious uveitis. Thank you very much.